Meet Chandra, the eternal queen of Icedom. In the highest tower of Icedom, where the winds howl with voices that speak of ancient secrets, sits Chandra, the eternal queen of the frozen realm. Unlike the boisterous wind gods who dwell in her domain, she is a figure of absolute stillness, her presence as commanding as the deepest winter silence before a storm. Her skin is the pale blue of glacier ice, with intricate patterns of frost constantly forming and dissolving across its surface, like living tattoos that tell the story of winter itself. Chandra's origins stretch back to the first age of the world, when the elements themselves were young and wild. Born from the marriage of the north wind and the spirit of the first frost, she emerged fully formed from a chrysalis of pure ice during the longest night ever recorded. The ancient scrolls tell that on the moment of her birth, every snowflake in the world paused in midair, as if nature itself held its breath to witness her arrival. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, Chandra moves with the fluid grace of falling snow. Her hair, which reaches past her waist, appears to be spun from silver frost and flows upward as if gravity holds no sway over it. She wears armor crafted from eternal ice, not the brittle ice of mortal realms, but divine ice that can never melt, each piece sculpted with scenes of ancient battles and winter storms. The armor changes with her moods. In times of peace, it appears as delicate as lacework, but in battle it becomes as impenetrable as a glacier's heart. Her crown is her most striking feature, a living circlet of ice crystals that constantly grows and reshapes itself, each facet capturing and refracting light in impossible ways. Those who look too long into these refractions often find themselves lost in visions of winters past and futures yet to come. At its center sits the frost diamond, a gem said to contain the very essence of cold itself, passed down through generations of winter royalty. Chandra's weapon of choice is the Winterspear, a legendary weapon forged from a shard of the original ice that formed at the beginning of time. The spear never needs to leave her hand, as she can reform it from any moisture in the air, and its touch can freeze even divine blood. In battle, she wields it with the precision of an artist and the force of an avalanche, each movement accompanied by swirling patterns of frost in the air. The queen's domain, Icedom, reflects her nature, a city of impossible architecture where towers of ice spiral upward into the perpetually storm-racked sky. The city moves and grows like a living thing, its structures shifting and rebuilding themselves according to her will. The wind gods who serve her dwell in these ever-changing spires, but none dare approach the central palace without explicit invitation. Even among divine beings, Chandra's power commands respect and caution. Unlike many of her divine peers, Chandra rules with cold calculation rather than passionate decree. She sees time differently than most beings, perhaps because she is so intimately connected to the eternal nature of ice. Where others might act on impulse, she can spend decades contemplating a single decision, her thoughts moving with the same inexorable pace as a glacier. This lengthy deliberation makes her both a fearsome opponent and a valuable ally, as every action she takes is part of a plan centuries in the making. Her relationship with mortals has always been complex. While she doesn't share some god's disdain for them, she views their brief lives with a kind of detached fascination, like watching snowflakes fall and melt. She has been known to grant boons to mortals who show exceptional courage or wisdom, but these gifts often come with prices that may not be apparent for generations. The arrival of Loga forced Chandra to reevaluate many of her long-held beliefs about the relationship between divine and mortal power. In Loga, she recognized a force as elemental as her own, but tempered by mortal experiences and emotions. Their battle and subsequent alliance marked the first time in millennia that Chandra had to adapt rather than simply endure, leading to subtle but significant changes in how she governs her realm. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Chandra is her mastery over what she calls the songs of winter, complex harmonies created by wind through ice that can shape reality itself. She rarely speaks in normal words, instead communicating through these crystalline songs that bypass language entirely and convey meaning directly to the mind. Those who have experienced this describe it as hearing the voice of winter itself, beautiful and terrible in its purity. The queen's court is attended by various winter spirits, frost giants, and wind gods, but her true confidants are the Storm Sisters, three ancient beings who serve as her handmaidens and advisors. These sisters, named Frost, Sleet, and Hail, are the only beings besides Loga who have ever seen Chandra's private chambers, where it's said she keeps a garden of ice flowers that bloom with actual colors, each one containing a memory from the beginning of time. Chandra's ultimate goal remains a mystery even to her closest allies. Some believe she seeks to preserve the perfect stillness of winter eternally, while others think she works towards some cosmic balance only she can perceive. What is known is that she holds secrets about the nature of reality itself, frozen in the infinite facets of her ice crystals, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Despite her tremendous power, Chandra is bound by ancient laws and prophecies that even she must obey. The most important of these is the Frost Covenant, which states that true winter must always yield to spring, just as spring must eventually surrender to winter. This eternal cycle is reflected in her very being, powerful enough to freeze oceans, but unable to prevent them from eventually thawing. In the aftermath of her battle with Loga, Chandra has become more active in the affairs of the Frozen Isles, though her interventions remain subtle and carefully measured. She now serves as a counterpoint to Loga's fire, maintaining the delicate balance between change and preservation that keeps their realm stable. Their relationship, while not exactly friendship, has evolved into a deep mutual respect, each recognizing in the other a force vital to the world's continuation. To see Chandra is to understand why the ancients feared and worshipped winter itself. She is not merely a queen or a god, but the embodiment of winter's eternal promise, that all things must eventually cease their motion and submit to the perfect stillness of ice. Yet in her new role as Loga's counterpart, she has begun to appreciate that it is the contrast between fire and ice, motion and stillness, that gives meaning to both.